Hey everyone, welcome back to Manga Minute. I'm thrilled to share my latest recap video with you. If you missed the previous one, no worries, just take a quick peek in the description below for the link. Now, let's dive right in and enjoy.
Hang Feng was absorbed in his efforts to get his DIY tool functioning, his frustration mounting as he muttered about the persistent power outage and the lack of internet access. The task was proving more challenging than he had anticipated, exacerbated by the absence of reliable information that could have guided him through the process. Suddenly, his concentration was shattered by the sound of someone knocking on his door. Startled, he glanced through the peephole, his eyes narrowing as he recognized the figure on the other side. The height and distinctive hair were unmistakable. Despite the inconvenience, he called out to inquire about the reason for the visit. The girl's response was simple and urgent. She needed help. Hang Feng was momentarily thrown off balance, grumbling about the trouble of being interrupted while he was preoccupied with his task. However, a quick recollection of Li Zi's warning jolted him into action. He remembered the warning about the escalating violence, with some residents breaking into others' apartments and looting their resources. Realizing the danger, Hang Feng hesitated before opening the door. He warned the girl of the perilous situation outside, advising her to return to safety. But instead of leaving, she chose to sit down right in front of his door, waiting for him to let her in. As the situation outside grew increasingly chaotic, with mobs ravaging the building and plundering resources, Hang Feng acted swiftly. He opened the door to admit the girl, taking advantage of the brief lull in the mob's activity to ensure her safety. Inside his room, the atmosphere shifted from one of tension and isolation to a momentary refuge amid the surrounding turmoil. From outside his door, Hang Feng could hear the faint but insistent calls of individuals announcing their presence. They claimed to be delivering resources, but the tone of their conversation quickly turned to one of plotting. The sounds of a crowbar being handed over suggested an intent to force their way in. Hang Feng tried to reassure the girl, who was visibly anxious, by emphasizing the strength of his reinforced door. Despite the reassurances, the muffled sounds of frustration from outside indicated that the intruders were struggling. Their efforts to breach the door were met with resistance. The handle refused to budge under their assault. The mob's efforts eventually turned to resigned grumbling as they realized their attempts were in vain. Their frustration was evident as they discussed the sturdiness of the door and contemplated targeting a neighboring unit instead. As Hang Feng listened to the shifting plans of the mob, a sense of relief washed over him. His decision to reinforce the door and handle had paid off, at least for the moment. The door held firm against the intruders' attempts, providing a brief respite from the chaos outside. Han Feng, gripped by frustration, muttered to himself as he wrestled with the intricate process of installing an electrocution defense measure. The task was proving more challenging than anticipated, with the device's setup causing considerable confusion. Determined to secure his door against any further intrusions, Han Feng was resolute that if anyone dared to touch his door again, they would face the full brunt of his electric defense. His irritation was palpable as he grappled with the complexities of the electrocution device, lamenting its poor design and the difficulties he faced in getting it operational. Despite his growing exasperation, he was driven by a fierce determination to complete the installation and ensure his safety. As Hang Feng continued to fortify his defenses, the girl, known as the True Eye of the Evil King, unexpectedly interjected with a technical observation. She explained that an anti-theft device operates using electricity and voltage differences. Her nonchalant demeanor as she described the process took Hang Feng by surprise. He was momentarily stunned by her knowledge and asked how she was familiar with such details. The girl calmly detailed a method for creating an electric deterrent using bare wires and an earth connection, demonstrating an understanding of the system that went beyond the basics. Intrigued, Hang Feng followed her instructions, applying the makeshift anti-theft device to the door handle. The device worked as described, reinforcing the security of his room. Hang Feng was astonished by the effectiveness of the improvised solution and sought to understand how the girl had such expertise. Before she could elaborate further, Hang Feng cut her off, urging her to focus on more immediate concerns rather than elaborate explanations. He was absorbed in his own preparations and needed her to be direct about her needs, emphasizing the urgency of the situation. Despite his attempts to refocus the conversation, The girl continued to occupy his attention with her cryptic explanations and skills, further complicating the already tense environment. The girl remained unperturbed as she declared her intention to stay with Hang Feng, her resolve unwavering. Her announcement caught him off guard, and he reacted with alarm, vehemently protesting her decision and demanding she return to her own home. Hang Feng advanced toward her. A wire ensnared his leg, causing him to stumble and fall. The impact triggered a strange phenomenon. His hand began to emit a vivid purple light. Stunned by this unexpected occurrence, Hang Feng's attention shifted to the coffee table nearby, which had inexplicably turned soft and pliable. His toolbox also displayed a similar transformation, its rigid structure yielding to a softer texture. Perplexed by the effects of the purple light, Hang Feng tried to comprehend the nature of this newfound power. He speculated that the light had the ability to alter the physical properties of objects, making them soft. As he was absorbed in his observations, a realization dawned on him. He had neglected the presence of the girl in the room, and his preoccupation with the bizarre changes around him had momentarily distracted him from the immediate situation. The girl's eyes widened in surprise as she observed Hang Feng's strange ability, leading her to conclude that he too was an emissary chosen by the true eye of the evil king. Her revelation was met with a mix of awkwardness and hastily crafted affirmation from Hang Feng, who tried to align himself with her belief in an attempt to manage the situation. Despite his attempt to downplay the situation, Hang Feng's thoughts raced. He recognized an opportunity to navigate this odd encounter by playing along with the girl's unusual assumptions. He believed that by pretending to be on the same wavelength, he could avoid further complications. The girl, embracing the idea of their shared mission, proposed that they support each other, suggesting that Hang Feng's apartment, where he rested, should be a shared space. This suggestion took Hang Feng by surprise and left him murmuring about the impracticality of such an arrangement, particularly with a girl staying with him. Before he could fully articulate his concerns, the girl proceeded to make herself comfortable, seemingly unfazed by his reluctance. Hang Feng, now left grappling with the unexpected turn of events, found himself at a loss as the girl continued to assert her presence in his apartment. Frustrated and pondering the strange occurrence, Hang Feng sighed and resolved to focus on the mysterious purple light he had just discovered. He had noted that this light could turn objects soft, an ability he hadn't fully explored. Determined to understand more, he retraced his steps to recall the exact moment when the purple light had first appeared, just as he tripped over the cable and nearly crashed into the coffee table. As he concentrated on the memory, the purple light began to emit again from his hand. Intrigued by this phenomenon, Hang Feng decided to test it further. He grabbed a cable and watched as it transformed into a rubber-like softness under the influence of the purple light. His curiosity piqued. He moved to the kitchen, selecting a knife to experiment with next. The knife, too, became soft and jelly-like when exposed to the purple light. Hang Feng's exploration of his new power continued as he experimented with various materials, noting that the effect of the purple light rendered them increasingly soft. However, he quickly realized that this power, while fascinating, seemed rather limited in its application. He then considered the potential of combining different types of light. Summoning a green light in one hand while maintaining the purple light in the other, Hang Feng experimented with the combination. To his surprise, the knife reverted to its normal hardness, suggesting that combining the two lights could alter the item's toughness. This newfound ability to control the toughness of objects intrigued him, revealing a more versatile aspect of his powers. Excited by the discovery, Hang Feng began to contemplate the practical applications of this newfound control over material properties. The potential for further experimentation and utility was vast, and he was eager to explore the possibilities of his power. As the plunderers navigated the dimly lit corridors, their footsteps echoed ominously against the concrete walls. One of them, agitated, questioned the plan to hand over their ill-gotten resources. The conversation revealed a reluctance to share their spoils, especially given the harsh reality of their situation. Resources were scarce, and the thought of splitting them with the women and elderly was unacceptable to them. The tension among the plunderers escalated when one of them, his voice tinged with panic, noticed something strange. The wall behind them seemed to be moving and wriggling unnaturally, sparking a wave of fear. In a moment of terror, The plunderers turned to see a horrifying face, grotesquely molded into the wall, its expression ghastly and unsettling. Unbeknownst to them, the horrifying visage was a creation of Hang Feng's abilities. Utilizing his power to soften the wall, Hang Feng had fashioned the unsettling face as a scare tactic. His intent was clear: to drive the plunderers away and protect his resources from being discovered. The plunderers, believing they had encountered a ghost, fled in terror, leaving the corridor in an eerie silence once more. Han Feng, exhausted from his recent efforts, gasped for breath as he assessed the consequences of his latest experiment. Applying his power to an entire wall had proven to be an incredibly taxing endeavor. The sheer strain left him panting and disoriented. Despite the effort, the result was evident. The wall was now reinforced to an extreme degree. Determined to test the effectiveness of his hardening ability, Han Feng grabbed a heavy hammer and swung it with all his strength at the wall. The impact was powerful, but to his dismay, the wall remained unscathed. The hammer's strike left no mark, and the surface remained as intact as before. Han Feng was astonished by the results. The wall's hardness was so intense that even his strongest blows couldn't leave a scratch. Frustration and disbelief mingled with his exhaustion as he struggled to comprehend the extent of the wall's newfound durability. In the midst of the chaotic night, one of the men, visibly distressed, reported on the dire situation. His face was etched with concern as he explained that many of the owners were completely out of food. He had managed to seize a small amount of resources amidst the chaos, but his apology was tinged with the weight of the grim reality. Before he could fully finish his report, another figure emerged swiftly from the shadows. With practiced efficiency, this new arrival overpowered the man, pinning him down with a decisive force. The sudden, aggressive move highlighted the growing tensions and the desperate measures being taken in the frenzied struggle for resources.